around that time. Our hook is now into the very first stitch there. We're going to wrap and pull through, and we're going to put 2 stitches in every single one of these 6 stitches that we made, so we're going to increase to 12. So I'm going to go back inside that very first and make another single crochet. I'm going to go around and increase again. This is my, I've now made, this is my 4th stitch out of my 12 that I've got for my round 2. I'm going to now go into my 3rd stitch and make my 5th and 6th stitch by putting 2 stitches inside that one. As you can see here, there are 2 stitches inside that one stitch. 7 inside that, and then we're going to go back in for our 8th stitch. So again, another 2, 9, and 10. I always count it this way, that way I don't lose track of my numbers. And then our last stitch right here, this is our 6th stitch that we were in. We're going to go 11 and 12. So now we are back and we're working on round 3, where we're going to increase again, this time from 12 to 18. You'll notice that we're increasing in increments of 6 every single round. So I'm going to actually take my tail and pull it through and make that my marker for my round. That's how I make my markers. No need to buy markers, unless you find a really cute llama one, which I've done that before. Sometimes we'll use for my knitting stuff, but not generally for crocheting. Here, we're going to start off doing single crocheting 1 and then increasing, single crocheting 1, increasing. That's how we're going to get to our 18. So this is our first stitch. We're going to just single crochet him, and then we're going to increase our next round. Our next stitch. So 1, 2, 1, increase, and if you ever get confused, I do have a written pattern on Ravelry, so if you are more of a written instructions kind of person, then I recommend downloading the PDF for this. So increase now, because I just did 1. 1, increase. And now we are on our last one, so this next one should be getting us to, our next increase should get us to 18. I always like to double check, but still, increase. So now we're going to make sure that we have, I'm going to pull that tail a little bit, make sure that we have 18 stitches here. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18! Yay! So now we have 18 stitches. We are now going on to round 4. So 1, 2, 3. In this way, we're going to also increase 6 stitches. Our goal is to increase until we are at 42 stitches all the way around. So this round we're going to increase every 3rd stitch, then every 4th, then every 5th, then every 6th, and that should get us to our 42 stitches. And that's pretty much what we're doing the entire time around. I'm going to show you how here I'm going to actually take my tail out and feed it through my new center of my stitch. So this is my new start of the round, and I've got too much polyfill. I took the polyfill and I put it with the yarn like an idiot just to show that you need polyfill, and now it's all over everything, so you know, that's a pain in the butt. So here, to give you an example, we're going to single crochet 1, and then 2, and then we're going to increase. So last time we only single crocheted 1 between the increase, and now we're doing 2. And then we're going to single crochet 3 and then increase, and then 4 and then increase, then 5 and then increase. And I believe that should get you to 42. We're basically going to be increasing 6 rounds until we get to 42 stitches. And once we get to that, I'll show you what we do next. Alright, be right back. So I've made all of the stitches that I need to make for increasing, and I'm on my last repetition. We've increased 6 stitches every single round up until 42 stitches. Right here is going to be my last increase, so that's about to be my 42nd right there. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this last stitch I'm going to increase. So 1, and then I go back in the same one, and 2. So from here, we're going to actually just single crochet around for 5 rounds. It's pretty easy, and then we're going to transfer over to our black yarn. I'll do a round with that, and then we're going to transfer over to my white yarn and do 3 rounds of that. And then we're going to do some decreasing. So first and foremost, we're going to do our first 5 rounds in the red, and then we're going to snip our yarn and change over. So I'll show you how that's done once you get your 5 rounds done here. So we're gonna just go around and around and around and around and around. Alright, so now we've done our 5 rounds around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do 1 round of black now. And you'll notice that here, it doesn't really matter what technique you use for changing colors. I just kind of prefer this because it looks better, where on my last row, I don't pull through. I then pull through with my secondary color. This is going to be covered up by the Pokeball in just a short time, so it doesn't really matter if your join is a little messy, it won't matter. This is just what I prefer to do and what I've gotten to the habit of doing. We're going to single crochet around the entire thing in black, and then we're going to do the exact same thing but in white for the next round. So you'll see here it is not a perfect join. You can definitely tell, hey, it goes from one to the other. If you are really bothered by that, for whatever reason, you could easily do a slip stitch and then join, which will help with the seaming of it. But when you end up putting the Pokeball button on, which I'll show you how to do in just a moment, you literally cannot see it because I cover it up with the button. That way, there is no join, no seam, no anything, and it's perfect. So I'm going to finish with my black, and then I'm going to do the next 3 rounds in white, and then I'll show you how to do your decreasing. This is all just making a cylinder ball shape. So I'll be right back once I have my 1 row of black done and then my 3 rows of white done. We're just continuing to go around all the 42 stitches down. So we'll have 42 stitches of black, and then 42 of white, 42 of white, 42 of white, if that makes sense. So again, I have a written pattern of this down in the description as well on my Ravelry. Be right back. Alright, so now it's going to get a little bit harder to see because we're using white yarn. I did my 3 rounds in white, and now we're going to start our decreasing rounds. And what we're going to do is basically the inverse of our increases here. We're going to decrease every 6th into 7th stitch. So this is my start. I'm going to take my tail, well, one of my tails. I'm going to take my red tail so you can tell where my tail is. There we go. That's my start right there, just because I use my tails. Alright, so I'm going to hit, that was my first stitch right there. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and since we have 42 stitches and we're decreasing 6 stitches, we're going to take our 6th stitch and our 7th stitch and single crochet those 2 together. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. And then we're going to continue doing the same thing for all the other rounds, except we're going to do it for every, we're going to take our 5th and 6th stitch and put them together, 4th and 5th, 3rd and 4th, and etc. etc. So we're on 2, 3, 4, 5, And to show you what a decrease is again, we're going to go into our 6th stitch, not go around, go back into our 7th stitch, pull through, and then pull through those 3 loops. We can continue that until we are at the end of the round. Alright, so now we are at 36 stitches, and we're going to do the exact same repetition, except instead of every 6th and 7th, we're going to do 5 and 6. So 1, why am I not able to get this focused in? 2, 3, 4, and now 5 and 6. Repeat all the way around until you get back to your beginning. And then we're going to do every 4th and 5th stitch together, 3rd and 4th, 2nd and 3rd. At that point you're going to want to stuff, and I'll show you how to do that once we get there. I'll be right back. Alright, so now I've decreased to the point where I have a good hole here. We're to the point where I've got about 18 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yep, 18 stitches left, and we're going to stuff. So I have a little bit of stuffing in there already, and what you basically want to do is try to just get it in there as firmly and as well, evenly as you can. I don't like to ball things. I like to keep it all like fluffy until I push it in there, and then I try to push it towards the center right there and basically go out from there. A lot of times I'll get it really full, and then I'll try to like kind of pull it towards the sides to make it so there's a hole in the center, and then I stuff more into the hole, if that makes sense. So I'm going to continue to get this to the fluff levels that I'm looking for, and then I'm going to show you how to do the button once I show you how to do finishing touches on closing off. So I've got a little bit of stuffing in here. I've got it mostly stuffed actually, and I just undid one of my last decreases. So I'm going to go back and redo that decrease from my last round. And now I'm going to take this, and I'm at the point where I single crochet 1 and then go right into decreasing. So I'm going to single crochet 1, decrease. So 1, 2, 3 are going to go together. Well, not 1, 2, 3. I crochet my 1, and then I decrease 2 and 3. I'm going to go all the way around. It's just what you kind of have to stuff while you crochet for the last one, and that's kind of difficult to get on camera. 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2. And you'll notice that it continues to come closer and closer together because we're decreasing all of these decreases. 2 and 3. And now we're at the point where we have 12 stitches. And I'm going to feel around, see there's a big hole still right in the center, and it still kind of needs more stuffing. So we're going to, what I like to do is I like to go around, make sure all of my things are cupping the sides, all my polyfills cupping the sides, but nothing's got like a big lump in it. It's a big balancing act with stuffing, honestly. And I'm going to take some stuffing, kind of ball it at this point, because at this point I do want to have it in a ball. And I'm going to stuff right there, make sure it goes in on the sides and on the inside, and then here, I believe that actually should do it. So now I'm going to take and decrease every single one until I only have 6 stitches left. So I'm going to decrease every single one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 left. And it's got one more, two more actually decreases. 1, 2, and now I'm on my last decrease, and what I do for my last decrease is instead of going 1, 2 on my last two, I'm going to take it and skip this one stitch and slip stitch into the final stitch, and then I'm going to cut my yarn and break it. And I'm going to leave a small tail because what I do now is I've got this big hole in the center. And the way that I finish my amigurumis is I'm going to take my needle and poke it right through the first single crochet for the row. I'm going to take it and wrap and pull through. I'm going to go to my next one and repeat all the way around. Pull through. That way I can close off. So I'm going to put my hook in, pick up the tail, pull it through. My fourth one, pick up, pull through, fifth, pick up and pull through, and because I did the weird tail thing there, I'm going to pull through, put my hook through this part of the original stitch for that round, and I'm going to pull it through, and then I'm going to tug. See, there's a hole that's about to be closed up. We're going to pull our tail, and now that's closed, and I'm going to take my darning needle and hide my tail. Which I just take my darning needle and take it where it was closest, right there. That's where my needle's coming through, and I poke it through and feed it that way, and then I just cut my tails. So now all we got to do is the button, which is going to cover right here. We're going to do, there's so much polyfill everywhere. We're going to do the same as before after I cut all my tails. Alright. So now we're going to take our crochet hook and do the same exact thing that we started with earlier. We're going to make our slip knot. We're going to chain 2 for our button. It'd be good if I chained with my actual working yarn. 1, 2. We're going to place our hook into our first chain and single crochet 6 again. So 1, 2, 3, if I don't go right through the yarn, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to do working in the round again. We're going to place 2 single crochet in every single one of these stitches round. So I'm going to go back into my very first single crochet and put 2 inside. So 1, 2. Our next stitch, we're going to put our third and our fourth stitch in. 3, 4, and with this tiny needle it sometimes is a little bit harder to crochet. 5, 6 in the same stitch, 7 in the same, 8. So that's the 4th single crochet, 7 and 8. This is the 5th, 9, 10, and then there's 11 and 12. And I need my black yarn now. Alright, so now that I've got my black yarn, I'm going to attach it, and I'm going to increase another 6 stitches in this round. So I'm going to make this 12, go into 18, and that's basically what we're doing for this entire button. Once we're done with this round, then we just attach it right here, and then she's all done. I usually just hot glue it because I think that it comes out with a nicer looking seam, but you can sew it using your darning needle. You can attach it with just some sewing thread or your yarn. Any way you want to do it, it works out. I just really like using hot glue because I'm also really lazy and I don't like sewing, like at all. So I'm going to do 1 stitch right there, and then we're going to go into the next stitch and put 2 in there. And so we're increasing 6 stitches this round, and 2. 1, and then increase. 1, 2. And finally, 1, 2. Here, I'm going to go back into our first stitch right here. I'm going to pull and slip stitch, pull my tail, cut my yarn, and then I feed it through the back. That way, when I hot glue it, the hot glue kind of just like closes them all and it seals it, and I don't have to deal with any tails. Usually I just like slice off my tails right there, which I know is going to make a lot of people out there cringe, and I call that good. I hot glue it so that they all end up flat against the back, and then I put it right on the front there. I also try to pull it so that it's like, you know, even. So I'm going to go hot glue that on, and then I'm all done. Alright, so once you've hot glued on your button, you're all done. And if you like this video, be sure to check out our other Pokeball video, which is a larger version of this, which has felt all along it instead of this actual just simple crochet band. And we have a ton of other Pokemon inspired amigurumi and crochet toys, so if you're interested in that, be sure to check out the playlist down in the doobly-doo. And alright, we actually just started revamping our Patreon, so if you're interested in doing any kind of Patreon stuff, also links are down there, our Ravelry, our Facebook, all of our social media business, so that's pretty much all there is to it. Alright, until next time guys, bye!